It is. You ready?
Oh, yes. Well, in New Hampshire was like that too, on the Fourth of July, yeah.
All right.
They used to blow up everything.
Okay, Molly.
You ready?
Yes.
You got 1 minute.
Does seven,
According to mine, it's 1 minute.
you're recording?
You got it.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Ulysses Planning Board meeting for July 1, 2025. First order is a roll call of board members.
Jeff McDonald,
Or Greg.
Linda Little.
Carl Plankowski, Chair.
Simon Bernard,
Well, fine.
Right. For tonight's agenda, we have the following items. Town board member reports, so far I don't see any, either in person or online. Approval of the May 6th and June 3rd meeting minutes. Privilege of the floor. For new business items, we have the following: Schaffner Littlefield 2-lot land division sketch plat review. And then Malacrashan Menon renovation in addition to existing dwelling. Hopefully I didn't murder that too bad. Sketch plan review and then board member and staff reports. Any discussion or amendments on the agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept it. Second.
All in favor? Okay. So I'll pick up the town board members. If Rich or Caitlin get here, not continue on. Has everyone reviewed the draft minutes for the May 6th meeting? Are there any corrections?
I'll make motion to pass as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Has everyone reviewed the draft minutes for the June 3rd meeting? Any corrections? Okay.
So I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I wasn't here, but I can say.
Just abstain.
Yeah.
Let's see. Privilege of the floor is a portion of our board meeting where members of the public may make general comments on items that are not related to items on tonight's agenda. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes in length. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on items not on tonight's agenda? I don't see anybody on. Do I have a motion to close privilege of the floor?
Yep.
Second.
All in favor? All right.
Big bug.
For new business items, we first have the Schaffner Littlefield 2-lot land division sketch plat review. The applicant and property owners Spencer Schaffer and Melissa Littlefield applied for a minor subdivision for the subject site to subdivide the existing 48.91 acre lot into 2 lots. Parcel A approximately 27.33 acres and parcel B approximately 21.52 acres. Here to come up and enlighten us.
Yeah, I'm Spencer Schaffner, this is my wife, Melissa Littlefield. And so we own the lot of 4296 Crumbs Corners Road, and we're basically looking to split it in half, pretty much. It's a little bit off of even on half. We've sold the lot, the smaller portion, pending the subdivision, and that lot includes the house, outbuildings, chestnut orchard, stuff like that. And then we're gonna hang on to the other portion, which is about 27 acres, something like that. And the lot line, the new line kind of follows a natural tree line that runs east-west between the 2 lots. With a little jog because of the fence, like a backyard fence, so we kind of wanted to accommodate. Both lots have adequate road frontage, like the smaller one is about 500 feet, the other one's about 800 feet. And we appreciate you considering it. And we're open to any questions you have.
Board member questions? Would you guys be available for, our next meeting is the 15th of July. This week, 2 weeks up the road. We normally, all property splits and that, we post it to the neighbors and whoever's driving by, we can get inputs if there's objections up front rather than after the fact. So there'd be a public hearing. Niels will get you the material, you know, the signage and then post on the property.
Yep,
So,
yeah, we can do that.
so Neil, does a
Yep.
public
So fine.
hearing on our next meeting work?
Yep. If you can we'll get boards ready, and as long as they're posted by this weekend,
Okay,
then we can, okay.
yep, sounds good.
We've got the new plat map there already, so I think we've got pretty much what we need to be able.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
There was something on it about
Yeah.
moving the subject.
That's-
Do you have to?
So,
I think there's an original septic and there's a replacement field that's all on
Yeah.
the same property, just in case it needed to be
Okay,
replaced, yeah.
that was, okay,
But the septic, so it just passed the inspection.
It's
by house
still
sale,
in
it's
the-
still very
Yeah.
much shape.
okay.
It's just that in the future, the replacement field is still on the same lot, so there's no.
That's what I was
Yeah.
wondering. What, okay, good.
Any other questions? No, I think that's what we need.
Mhm.
All right.
I guess we need to do a formal motion to schedule the final plat review and public hearing on 15 July.
So,
Yeah, we'll do it.
second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, track here. Next, we have the Balakrashan Menon renovation and addition to existing dwelling unit sketch plan review. Applicant Christina Gonzalez on behalf of the property owners. J2 and Parima Balakrashan propose a renovation in addition to an existing detached dwelling unit for zoning code 212-43A, single family residences and their accessory structures are permitted in the lake shore. Require site plan review for the planning board. And located in a steep slope or unique natural area.
Hello, my name is Christina Gonzalez for Brotherson Construction. I'm the representative for the client. They are currently actually traveling abroad, so they are not able to attend themselves. What we're proposing is a renovation of the property in question. It has seen some renovation over the years that were not to code. Seems like there was a lapsed permit at some point where they built something and then never got it approved. And the client just wants to bring the house up to code and add an addition onto the second story to unify the two second story areas that are completely disjointed from each other. We don't believe that this addition will obstruct anyone's vision of the lake or create any kind of disturbance with the local area around it. If anything, it'll make the house look a lot better because it is definitely a ugly duckling for sure.
Will it add any roof area?
Yeah. that's
Yes.
fine.
There was a central cottage that has just been added to over time, and the central cottage remained the same with the same gable roof. What we're proposing is to take the gable roof off and pull the roof line up to match
Mhm.
the east side
Uh-huh,
roof line and just bring it across.
But it's not really adding any square
Square
footage,
footage,
right?
no.
It's just taking the existing height and putting it up higher.
Yes,
Yeah.
there will be a second story.
Right, but
Right,
you're just thinking
but-
runoff.
Right, same rate.
line, yeah,
Essentially,
same roof height,
Yeah,
same-
the same footprint.
Square
of the
footage.
house.
Right.
correct.
I have a question. Do you have any plans for the runoff? Off the
Runoff.
roofs, yes, because you're next to the lake. We're always concerned about runoff from the roofs.
We intend to follow the same salt box shaped roof that is on.
Not that, I meant the
Oh.
water that comes off.
No, but we're certainly open to any kind of.
Yes,
recommendations.
because you're so close to the lake, if you just have a downspout coming out, it
Mhm.
will eventually run down to the lake. So we usually would like to see something like a retention pond or a dry well or something where the water will not be able to go down to the lake that quickly.
Gotcha, okay,
Okay?
I mean, they probably already have something there.
I can
I
check.
don't think so.
Yeah,
But
Oh,
I
you
don't
didn't
think they
think so?
do.
No, by the pictures, I don't see anything.
I didn't either,
Yeah,
but I was gonna be surprised.
Yeah, we can definitely incorporate something like that. Would we
Yeah.
address that with our engineer?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
Yeah.
it's just common right now to do that in any lakefront. Okay, it's nothing terrible, we just don't want the water to go rushing down into the lake.
completely understand.
House.
So they're adding another bed and bath, right?
There is currently in the house, 2 bedrooms downstairs and 2
Oh, there
bedrooms
is two.
upstairs. There's a very, very wonky little bathroom off the kitchen that they want to turn into the correct to code staircase, because
Mhm.
the staircase that's in there right now is not to code.
Mm.
It's undersized and the steps are all different heights. So they want to use that current bathroom to redirect the new staircase. And then turn one of the downstairs bedrooms into a formal bathroom laundry room. Then upstairs, where that new addition is going to be, we'd like to make 1 bedroom and then a primary bathroom for the master suite and then a 3/4
Right.
bathroom for the 2 other bedrooms up there. So the bedroom count will stay the same.
Oh, it will. So
bathroom
so the
count will
septic
upgrade.
isn't impacted.
The septic is, I mean, we will have an extra bathroom, so.
Yeah, so that, do they have to have an inside?
I believe we will have to have the septic assessed. I don't think it's sized appropriately
Yeah,
as it
Yeah, but,
is.
but
Especially
sizing,
if-
sizing on for septics is actually number of bedrooms.
Right,
I don't
but-
care how
Yeah.
many bathrooms. you have,
Right,
it's
isn't
the
that
number of
odd? But
bedrooms.
yeah.
yeah, if it's 4 bedrooms, I think it's 15.
Yeah.
But considering what we know about what was previously permitted versus not,
probably.
our
a bedroom
assumption is
isn't.
only made for
You
2.
may have a problem.
Yeah,
Mm.
so that's part of our next assessment, given approval.
Right, so because it's really, I went did a quick look at it.
Mhm.
It's hard to imagine where they'll put another field.
Yes.
The other
Yeah.
question is, do you have an elevation map?
An elevation map.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
a plot of elevation
a
of
topo.
that particular
Yeah.
area, where the house sits and where it goes down to the lake.
We do not have a topo, but we can get one.
Yeah,
That
it's
would be good.
necessary for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the lakefront, yes.
Okay, so we can get that from TG Miller.
Yeah, cause from Maplewood down to the house is probably 30 foot of drop or more.
Yeah.
And from the house to the lake is another 40 foot or so, yeah,
Yeah.
it just keeps going down.
So you don't envision any impact to the trees or anything?
In the regards to having to reassess the septic, there may be some trees being removed in the front yard to
Oh,
redo the tank and the leach field potentially. So
Okay.
that's our only consideration. We
But
don't
not
think
for
we're
the
gonna have to do
construction.
anything.
No, okay.
Maybe some trimming back while we're for the roof work, but other than that, we're no intentions of taking down the trees.
Are you
And
there?
that, sorry, that access on the neighbor's property to get down and around the house,
The
sure.
south neighbor or the north neighbor?
I think it's the north.
So the north neighbor is the Bombs. And we do have permission to use not permanently, but to use their drive as needed. We have that north side path, which is on the Balakrishna's property. And then on the south side, I forget her name. But the lady who owns that property has given us access to use her driveway. She's only there seasonally, so we intend to do this in fall. She won't be in the house anyway.
I was just wondering how you were gonna get down around
Yeah.
to the lake side of the house to.
Are you is this gonna add any square footage to driveways, walkways, anything like that?
Not at this time. We were not anticipating that. I mean, other than correcting the rotting.
Yeah.
They have a step path that
Right.
correcting that at some point
Yeah.
is in their plans, but that's nothing
We're just
adding.
looking for how much, any water that might be added to the equation from runoff. Okay.
Yeah.
My question, do you have a plot plan of this?
I have,
So we require that also, boundaries of.
Yeah, there is one.
yeah.
It was in the zoning.
I have
Oh, did you send it?
Yeah,
Oh, you
it's
did?
package.
I must have missed it.
the
Anyway.
current one,
there's nothing
since they
here to
purchased
state-
the house.
Yeah.
and I also have the old one
Is
from
it-
88.
You have one.
It's like an old, make sure to email to.
Just check my emails. I got the other one,
It's
but I didn't-
a 47 foot wide lot.
It's very narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, that's a challenge.
Insulate on the outside of the house and then size it on whether
Exactly. That's part
Let
of
me
the
go back.
problem.
Okay.
Sometimes you
That there
you
was
send so many
consideration to
emails, it's.
demo the house
it's
down.
confusing.
Well, we try to just do
New
some.
section rules, it would be impossible
Yeah.
to build anything of value, so they just wanted to
Agenda, huh?
store the original house and add a little bit to it.
Agenda drafts.
It's not on submission.
And a question for you on
This
this
is
one here.
Yeah.
So that link,
Does this actually
Yeah, I don't
increase
see
the deck
anything.
width up there?
Yes, the client has requested.
Like about 3 feet of additional deck or something where the staircase lines up?
3 feet by how many
Uh,
square feet?
3 feet by about 21 feet, so
About 60 square feet.
60 square feet, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the deck made of, gonna be
The deck is currently PT, but we're looking to do it in composite.
Trex or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Roof
okay.
And the tracks and drains down
Yeah.
through.
right.
And there's another, I think this is second floor, right?
No, but.
Isn't this,
That is the first,
that's first floor?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
ground floor.
That's the
is what we're
ground
calling
floor,
it.
all right. That's the only thing I noticed that looked like there was any change from the original footprint. Just-
Yeah, they said to request it, and if you guys turn it down, then nothing lost.
Well, I don't know, is that where the BZA comes in on this, or?
Any setback variance, if it's in a setback, they'd have to look at that.
Is it in the set?
Is it in the setback?
Well, it's on the lake side of the house, right?
Are they within zone?
It's 75 feet, so it's gonna be.
The whole house, well,
Yeah.
half of the house is in the setback zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's only about 30 to 40 feet between the house and the lake shore, so it'll.
Is there no like variance on record for that? So, yeah.
So you're saying you're gonna have to get BZA to go for the
I
deck?
didn't see it on. the
If they're gonna increase the
Make sure.
Yeah.
the dimension of that deck, that's what probably drives them to the BZA. I think if they stayed within the original, Niels, if they stayed within the original or the existing footprint without going beyond it, would they actually still have to go to the BZA?
So one of the things Christina mentioned is we always have to rely on also the last building permit that was issued.
Okay,
So there was an addition that was never either fully permitted or fully CC'd.
oh,
And then with code changes, but yes, so say something was built and got a certificate of compliance or occupancy prior to code that changed. And they
It
wanted,
was prior to the code change.
well, I'm in like a hypothetical.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So say it was constructed and got CC or COs prior to code. And all they wanted to do is tear down and rebuild, they can do that without the BZA variance.
but because this had open issues.
Yeah.
All right, well, so they're gonna end up going to BZA, so they
Yeah.
might as well leave it on there. And It's just.
Is the original deck?
How deep is the original tech? I wanna say
Looked
it's
like,
almost 7 feet.
yeah,
It's only going out to 10 or something.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
little
that's-
bit more than 10.
That's pretty tight.
It's just enough for them to get a small table out there so that they can eat out in the open air.
So very tight.
this is a challenging property.
is.
And I don't envy you guys trying to work on it.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, so that's good. So it's gotta go.
yes, and I think that's why there was stuff in there, I don't know. Variance, let's see, let me read the rest. A public hearing is not required for final site plan review. If the board determines a hearing. The board determines a hearing isn't required, it still needs to determine which notification process to go with for final site plan review. Mailers posting to the site or both. The variance needed for the BZA. Doesn't the BZA normally do a public hearing?
They have to.
They have to.
Yep.
So in that case, I think with the BZA doing one, I don't think there's any reason for us to duplicate it. And you've obviously been talking with the neighbors already to be able to get access down there, but the 500 foot would probably carry you another couple properties beyond there. They're pretty skinny down there.
But I would suggest having all those plots the plot plan.
The elevation.
The elevations and all that, because the BZA will want to see that.
Okay.
And then we want to see it also when you come back.
We needed it in record, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Niels, is there anything formal we need to give for the BZA?
Nothing formal. I mean, this is an opportunity for the board to consider giving them comments if you want to, but you don't have to.
At this
They need to-
point, I don't see any reason to keep them from doing work, but,
Right.
you know,
It actually bringing the house to code is
right.
is
Yeah.
good for the town.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, this house, the way that entrance little doghouse up there, that's the first part, is just to get the staircase to get down to the house. And then the
Yeah.
other part was built up, as extra bedrooms and that.
I mean, put simply, based on what I see currently, I see no reason to stop them from
No.
Just the size of the deck.
the decks and we
Right.
question, and that's.
Yeah, and the BZA will address that because it's gonna,
So I
Put 'em
thought
even
that's what you were
closer,
going
yeah,
to
no.
tell the BZA. Okay.
Yeah.
What comments do we want to go to the BZA? None, right?
I think so. None.
I think the big thing for us is the law.
Right.
Yeah.
And go,
It's it, yeah.
and knowing when the last changes were made.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part. I think, we had it was 2016 was when that permit was opened and voided. The same year,
Yeah,
something
Um,
like that.
we'll check with Molly and I will check with Mark
Yeah,
tomorrow.
It's unfortunate, it put our client in such a gray area, but. They wanna do right by the house and they wanna enjoy the house for the next 50 years and pass it to their daughter, so. Trying to do right by them by going through this process with you guys.
Yeah,
Well, that's a dilemma. If somebody's like really on the cusp of violating zone, make an unpermitted change to the structure and then sell it and let the next person.
deal with it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not inclined to penalize the new owner, so how do you manage
And the new
that?
owner is investing significant funds to straighten all this out.
Yeah.
This is not a cheap remodel, just a challenging situation.
Yeah.
They just need to make sure they maintain good relations with their neighbors, so.
Oh, they're very social people. They're hanging out with their neighbors all the time, so I don't think there's an issue there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we have to have a motion upon to, or not.
Email.
I don't think so.
Email that was sent last
Yeah.
few weeks ago.
I think that's it. Thank you for your time. Good luck with the BZA and,
So we won't need to come to the meeting on the 15th to represent to you guys, or just go straight to the BZA?
just go straight to the BZA. They meet on the 3rd.
They're meeting on the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Have they already put their stuff into the BZA so that they're on their agenda?
We figured we'd have to go there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The only outline-
Is she gonna have to come back here after the BZA?
After the BCA.
Yes,
Okay,
because we have to see what it is.
Right.
Yeah, once the BZA issues their variance and that, then it'll. Deals will bring it back up on our schedule, or depending on how quick it comes around, so.
So the only question I have for you is if the BZA issues a decision approving all the variances, do you want to? There has to be some public notification for the final site plan review. It's either mailers or posting to the site. And then you can schedule, if you want to, you can schedule the next available meeting.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So just, we can just tell Neil, if it's positive, go ahead and schedule it for our next meeting.
The next
Available.
Wait,
Yeah.
so that would mean require 2 public meetings? You said the BZA would.
Doesn't the
require-
BZA have to?
No, it's just public notification, right?
Public
Oh,
notification.
understood,
Oh, okay.
understood.
Okay. So the earliest would be, just so you know, is August 5th, if the BZA.
okay.
grants the variance.
I got. You just sent it through here, right? This one is July. And it is this one here.
Last link.
Yeah, that one,
He's just asking about the site plan.
but it doesn't have the site plan on.
Go back to my email.
Hmm.
Go back to my email.
Go back to your email. Yes. Oh, there you go. At the end of the sentence you put it?
You just gotta read the end of the sentence.
I looked for the blue
No,
button.
We used to have.
I had everything else, but.
We used to have an engineer in a tubing factory I worked in, that about 3 pages down into written instructions.
Yeah,
He'd put a line in there, if you see this coming in, come and see me for a free Coke. And he almost never had to give a Coke. away. All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So probably the 5th of August is, if things go well with the BZA, then we cycle back around. with it. Yeah.
Last we checked for a topo.
Then how
lead
busy-
time,
Yeah,
if we schedule, well, we might not have the topography map, elevation from TG Miller in time for that.
okay, well,
survey.
then the
Yeah,
other one
survey,
would be like
because there
the
you-
19th of August, the middle of the month.
But with the VCA, if we go to them and they ask us to come back, is it next month or is it,
It would be, yeah, they only meet once a month, so it'd be
Okay.
August 20th,
okay, and then your next meeting after that would be,
Early September.
September 2nd.
okay. It's not the end of the world.
Still works in that time.
It's gonna be tight.
It's gonna be tight for an October
Yes.
start.
It seems like a long time away.
Yeah, it goes fast. All right, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Mhm.
The board member reports. After the last comp plan meeting, Mo and I were walking out talking about, like my 5th grade artwork and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and Kim Moore was there. It turns out she works for the county, and the county GIS group is under her.
Hmm.
And she volunteered their services.
Did we get the map?
Well, we got
I-
the
I
one
see
for
this,
the
yeah.
properties and stuff. I
Yeah.
sent it to Niels to also get it to MRB, where they're
Yeah.
starting to work on the land
Right.
use stuff. But I would like Niels to provide each of you guys with the electronic copy of this. When I'm looking at stuff, when properties come up, what we get is just the property, and maybe a couple around it. But I
Right.
usually like to be able to look at the neighborhood and sometimes kind of back off and look at the town and get an idea of what's happening where. And this is a really good one, and this is created by the county assessment department. So the indications, the color coding for farms and residences and that's what the assessment department is calling it currently. So I think it's, yeah, existing land use. And
Are you using that for land use?
not,
Are you getting something different for actual land?
they'll actually have to create a regular land use map, and that's gonna be part of the comp plan
Okay.
update. But I just
That's
submitted it
good,
to
because
them.
we're saying that in the water plan that the comp plan's coming up.
Right, well, it is, and that's one of the next chapters coming out, will be the start getting into the land use stuff. And so I think it's useful to get the information out there, but for us as planning board members, I think it's useful to just have the electronic copy, so if you wanna look at the neighborhood, I just keep mine in my folder for planning board and pop it open when I need it and that sort of stuff to look at it. So Niels, if you forward it to the board members, I just find it useful. That's why I thought I'd bring it along. Other little bit of info that when the comp plan stuff came out, the MRBs, well, last fall, when they first made their first pass, they said we had built no houses, or we had a 0.0% new houses in the town since 2020. So I actually went to the assessment department, and they said we've added 29 in 2020 through 24, so about 6 a year and they're scattered across the town. They're not in any one particular area in that stuff. If you guys are interested, I'll forward the document to you. You can just, it kind of gives you an idea of what's going where and
Yeah,
that
if you
sort
could
of
send
stuff.
off, that would be great.
Yeah, Niels, I'll send it to you and you can just send it along with the other one. I think it's better, rather than me back channeling to you guys, to just work through Niels and let it formally come out that way, but I'll send it to Niels then and just, it's fairly info at this time, but I think it's useful
Better,
to
better
have.
than Zillow, huh?
Yeah, well, the thing that kind of caught my attention was the last time when they did the zoning update in 2019. They were still arguing about how many or how many houses were being built a year in the farm areas. 2 months before they actually approved the darn zoning. Somebody should have gotten real numbers long before that, you know?
How many of those are in farm areas?
Well, it gives you the actual, both the street address and the tax map. So depending on which you're more comfortable digging with, but you've got all the roads and that sort of stuff and everything along there. That's why I think that coupled with having this available to look at, kind of gives you a better idea of what
It's
to
got the
wear.
parcel number.
If.
Yeah,
if you had
it's got the
time, you could
parcel
actually
number in here.
combine it.
Like this goes down through, there's 8050 Route 227, there's one in Waterberg. Another one in Willow Creek, one on Agard, Jacksonville Road, two on Cold Springs Road. Another one on 227, another one on, there's about 5 or 6 of them on Waterberg
Right.
total altogether, so.
These are
Anyway,
New dwelling units.
these are new dwelling units recognized by the tax assessor. That he went through their tax rolls. It's not something you can pull out easily, but he was able to go through and put it together. I explained why we were looking for it, and the guy that actually handles the assessment for the town of Ulysses, the guy put it together for me. In a few days, I had the info I needed. A little bit disconcerting that MRB, our consultant for the comp plan,
Yeah,
couldn't come up with real numbers, but that's beside the point.
It's
Anyway.
probably because the tax data is usually in a text file. So it's really hard to convert into a workable like
Usable,
analysis
yeah.
form.
Yeah, the tax guy that handles us said they're planning a big software update in the next couple of years. It should make it more user friendly. But at this time, if you're not inside and know what you're doing, you'd never get there, but.
When I did the assessments in Montgomery County, I would have to pull them out of one system, put them in another system, convert it to a different kind of file, and then do the analysis in a totally different program. It's really annoying.
Obviously very similar here. All right, anybody, anything else? Not very efficient folks tonight. Thank
what,
you.
well, I guess there is a question. What do we
Yeah.
have, what do we need, what do we have left to do in terms of training this year? How many hours or any required specifically?
Well, it's eight total. 4 is the town boards or the town requirements, and then the other 4 is on our own. We're still trying to get a meeting with Nate on the stream stuff to give you guys a chance if you've got questions to do an attorney-client, so you could feel free to ask whatever you want for questions in relation to that.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to need to, as a planning board, part of what the town board, when they told us to write up the questions, was to come back with them for a recommendation of what we recommend the town do to deal with this.
The wetlands thing?
Well, not so much the wetlands as the streams issue we
Right.
currently have between what shows up in the Tompkins County mapper under the
Three different
GIS stuff and what's in our zoning, which is the USGS. And a couple times already, I've gotten feedback from the Tompkins County Soil and Water District that says we do not designate streams. So even though under the set of the 124 paragraph where it talks about or Tompkins County Soil Water or a licensed surveyor, Tompkins County Soil and Water has told me and Niels a couple times already that we do not designate streams, so they're not part of the puzzle. So it's either a licensed surveyor has, not surveyor, but geologist has determined it's a stream, or we're still with the USGS stuff. And so some parts of the town, it doesn't make a dime's worth of difference. Other parts of the town, it makes a lot of difference. And so we finally got clarification from legal what we need to do. And so we'll end up with a public, internal discussion here. That'll be a public meeting to put together a recommendation for the town board, what to do and that sort of stuff. Because the other one that's sort of intermediate between the two, between the GIS and that, is the DEC's environmental resource mapper that you use when you're putting together the environmental stuff and that. They have a few extra streams in the center part of the town and the western part of the town. The lake shore looks exactly like the USGS stuff. So it's sort of an intermediate in between there. And we'll see what we decide we want to do when we get that far. But I want to give everybody a chance to talk to Nate first, so you can feel free to ask whatever pointy questions you think are applicable. And then we'll go from there.
Well, I read all what he
Yeah,
said
what
back.
he gave it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, it is pretty straightforward, yeah.
Might be worthwhile reaching out to DEC and the county GIS folks to see like what their qualifications are. Not for GISing, but for designating those spaces, what they designate them as.
Well, they're having the GIS group right now has been working for a couple weeks trying to figure out where their stream data came from. To try, and Mo and I asked them to create maps for us that are the USGS, the GIS only,
Yeah.
and the DEC map.
Yeah.
And they have been unable to locate the source of where this data came from.
Who's been doing, this? Who's been
The
trying?
county
It's
GIS.
that old, you
This
know,
is-
it hasn't been
this
updated
is
in probably
Kim
50
Moore's
years.
people working on it.
Wow.
Because when she offered their services, Mo and I put together a quick list and said, okay,
Yeah,
this would be very useful. The land use was
Yeah, it
number
was
one, and
really
then the
good.
other three streams versions. So when you're starting to consider this streams mess, you can actually look at the differences and looking at town-wide and begin to say, oh my God, if we do this,
Yeah,
Right.
we got problems everywhere, and it's gonna make life real ugly for a lot of people.
right.
well, a lot of times we have, you know, you get a plot plan of just what they're doing, but you don't know what's on this side or on
Right.
this side.
Right,
And that's where we can get into trouble because they could be building 10 feet from a stream and we wouldn't even know it.
so anyway, we'll get into all that formally, but other than that, I guess, don't we wanna get us out of here?
Make it a motion to stay for another hour. I make a motion to adjourn.
Okey dokey.
Make a motion to
Second.
adjourn.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. Thank you, Molly.